and it is time for our weekly check-in with Tom Whipple, who writes on science for The Times and presents the podcast Making Science with Tom Whipple. That's enough, Tom Whipple, I think. I'm going to have to say it again. Hello, Tom Whipple.
Hello, it's lovely to be Tom Whipple.
Right, what should we start with? This is, it's always nice to start with from a very simplistic point of view, a good news story. Cancer vaccine, new personalised vaccine given in combination with a drug has stopped skin cancer returning in patients during a trial. Tell us about that.
This is an astonishing story. It's so important, far more important than just melanoma now appears to have something that can help people. We've been trying to make a proper cancer vaccine for 30 years at least, probably longer. It's such a simple idea. So to be clear, this isn't a vaccine. It's not like you take your booster shot to stop skin cancer every summer. It's not a vaccine you take to prevent cancer. It's a vaccine that attacks cancer once you've got it. So why is it called a vaccine? Well, the idea is that cancer is, in a sense, foreign cells. It's something that shouldn't be in your body. A lot of the time, as with all things that are foreign, your body controls it. Your immune system kills it. It's just like if it spots a measles virus coming in and attacks a measles virus, it spots a cancerous cell, which is a mutated version of your own cells, and kills it. But obviously, sometimes that goes wrong, and that's why people get cancers that we call cancers, the tumours that kill you. So the question is, if we know that your immune system can attack it, why not do exactly what you do with measles and with COVID and train your immune system? So you present a little bit of the cancer, your immune system then knows what to attack, it goes in, kills the tumour, away you go. It's been such a simple idea, and it's been so hard, and there's been so many false dawns, and there are so many reasons why it's hard. So one of them is a tumour is a lot bigger than a virus. There's a lot more that you've got to kill. The second, more important reason is cancer isn't really foreign. It's a bit of you that's been perverted. So it's very, very close to you. So it's very hard for your body to really spot that it's different. But there's been this new technology. So if I can take you back to January 2020, back then there were a bunch of companies, BioNTech and Moderna, and they weren't COVID vaccine companies, they were cancer companies. And in BioNTech, Ugo Sahin, the CEO, he turned up in January and he said, guys, we're no longer a cancer company, we're becoming a COVID company. We're going to use this strange technology we have called mRNA, which investors thought was doomed. It had been backed, it had been hyped for so long, and the idea of mRNA is you can make what you want. It's like a programmable genetic thing. You stick it in your body, it makes the proteins you want, but it hadn't done anything. And they said, we're going to pivot entirely, and they made the COVID vaccines that nobody thought were going to work. They were the crazy new technology. And with that, they proved that mRNA worked, and then they quietly went back to what they were doing before, which was cancer. And the brilliant thing about mRNA is it's programmable. So you can make it for your particular cancer. So when you've got your cancer removed, they take a look at it, they find out the bit of it that's different, and they make you a personalized vaccine. And so that's why, in a really long way around, it's so exciting, because this is something that could potentially become a standard treatment in this way that chemotherapy and radiotherapy are, but a lot kinder. And loads of cancer researchers thought this day would never come.
Yeah. The next story, I think I know the reason. I know why this is happening, but it's still just a bit of a chill going down my spine. AI buying up secondhand books. I wonder why.
Well, it starts off quite sweet. So the world's secondhand booksellers are suddenly getting these bonanza orders. And they start comparing notes, and they're like, who's this dude who's buying my books and is really into like Baltic translations of spy novels alongside biographies of 1950s Formula One racers. And it's not really the size of the orders, the consistency of the orders, but the sheer eclecticism of the orders. And then they sort of realised what they think's going on, which is AI is buying them up. And I've tied this to another story from this week, which we know to be true, and we've got it from filings. Google has bought it paid $10 million for one of the assets of Spirit Airlines, which is a bankrupt airline. And the asset it's buying is basically its Slack chats, its internal communications. So what's going on here? Well, it's actually quite simple. In a sense, it's a sign of desperation. The AI companies back in about 2021, they committed the biggest heist in the history of humanity. They stole everything. They went on the internet. They did. They stole my book.
No,
they stole your book.
I know they stole my book. Thank you.
Yeah. They decided to imitate us, and they went in and they nicked it before anyone even realised what had happened.
Yeah.
And now, but this is their fuel. This is the thing they need is data, and they're basically running out, which is why they're going and getting 1920s murder mysteries that haven't made it onto the internet yet. And so what does this mean? Well, actually, I think it's quite important, and it speaks to a potential bifurcation in the way that the AI might be going. And the example I've used in my column is the origin story of modern AI is this game of Go, the strategic game that was played in 2016. And it was DeepMind, Google's company, and they made a computer that won at Go. It beat the best player at Go, defeat of humanity, etc. And that first program had been made by looking at every single Go game that had been played, they could get on the internet, and learning from that. But there was something that came after that got far less coverage, where they made a second version of the program that didn't look at a single game. It taught itself. And it was a different vision of how you could do AI and how you could do it without nicking human stuff. And it's not just about in fact, it's not at all about not nicking human stuff. Obviously, morality doesn't come into it. It's that the team that made it just felt that whilst you get this initial advantage by seeing what humans have done, it eventually holds you back because of our idiosyncrasies and our humanness and the fact that you run out. And the guy who did AlphaZero, the second program that came after AlphaGo, and the one that didn't use any data, has founded a multi-billion-pound AI company that's trying a totally different approach. It's called Ineffable AI, and he wants to not use human data at all, because he thinks that's the best way to do it. So it could be that our AI overlords achieve super intelligence and destroy humanity thanks to just browsing the shelves at Hale and Y and getting that final last bit of just sort of dusty secondhand bookstores. Or it could be there's another way. I mean, I think if we're going to go, it's more dignified to go to the second option, where they've destroyed humanity thanks to a program that's really thinking on its own and isn't relying on humanity to destroy humanity.
Right, got you. Can we in 1 minute talk about stealth jump jets?
Yeah, I've got this in today. There was a plan in the 1980s to make a successor to the Harrier jump jet. It was a stealth supersonic jump jet. So the Harrier was subsonic. I've written today about newly declassified documents showing the final designs of it, but also how it was spiked because Margaret Thatcher took a look at it and decided it was ugly. And she said, if it looks like this, it's not going to be able to fly. And that was her considered aerodynamic judgment. And as a consequence, we went for the Eurofighter Typhoon rather than the supersonic stealth Harrier jump jet.
Interesting. Well, she had some famous opinions on planes, did she not? She didn't like the British Airways revamped logo. Is that right?
This was exactly the same issue. She didn't like the tailplane of this either. There was that famous thing of her covering up the British Airways tailplane with her hanky. I don't know if a hanky was used in the process of destroying an entire section of British aviation, but it was certainly the tailplane that did for it.
Goodness me. Right. Tom, thank you very much for that. Always lovely to talk to you. It's Tom Whipple, of course, writes on science for The Times and presents the podcast Making Science with Tom Whipple.